like, you know, some progressive city or even Chicago or anything. We're in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily the most open-minded folk there.
Hold that against anyone else. And she just refused to do a duty that we hired her for. That's the bottom line in a nutshell.
Brittany was outspoken on the Facebook.
I think she didn't hire her because of, you know, looks or whatever, but that's not her job. I've been told to suck it up before at my work. Suck it.
Because Brittany, you know, everybody has Facebook and everybody can, you know, tell their side of the story. She took to Facebook and this sounds familiar. I was fired from my job because I refused to wait on a table. People who are making transphobic remarks about guests at another table. Have you ever just heard of? I'm not even going to say.
It's not even about her.
Ask up their French fries. Just ask up their French fries and keep it to themselves. Facebook about what happened, and as a result, but I'll always choose my morals over money. Not me.
Well, then fine. End of story. You chose your morals over money. Done.
Then go somewhere else and work.
Hi, this is the Buff Spud Show, and we go opposite of that. We take our money over morals.
Yeah, but you know what though? I fully support her taking her morals over money, but then don't complain that you got fired because you took morals over money.
Right.
Because you took morals over money. She was fired. Two sides don't see eye to eye.
And I've heard hundreds of conversations I agree with, but it's just a matter of fact of just brushing it off and able to tell through your task.
Right. If anybody sees hates or hears things like this, that
Look at those ears, sponsored by Stretch Armstrong.
What is that thing on her lip though?
That is like a,
the piercing.
yeah, it's a...
Okay, because in my opinion,
Dermal piercing. Oh, by the way, this is Caveman's girl right here. I think Joey would go after her too.
It looks like she's got another row of back teeth, like a shark. Look at her. See those two Bugs Bunny deals that she's got kicking on the back?
The triplets are bad.
I mean, look at that. Looks like she's got a whole nother, like she's got two Bugs Bunny high spots, doesn't it?
ignoring it is no better than saying it
It
yourself.
looks like she needs to spend a little bit more time on the bottoms, too. They're a little bit more yellow than the tops, don't you think?
Both sides say they don't regret how they handled this situation.
That guy get any skinnier? Can you get any skinnier of a man?
like an only child and the father is asked to carry on the name, things like that.
But it's just name. It's a name. It's not necessarily a bloodline at that point, wouldn't it?
Well, it's both.
But at the end of the day, I'll tell you how I would do it. If I was marrying a Rockefeller or a real rich bitch, Clem is so white trash. Clem ain't fancy at all. But if I would be like Bubba Rockefeller, I'd be like, hey, listen, Rhonda Rockefeller, my new bride, would I be a Rockefeller? Who wants to be a Clem? That would be the only way I would change it. If the person I was marrying was real rich and fancy and had one of those real fancy names. Like there's a fancy name around here, like a Rockefeller or a Kennedy or a Shriver, you know, like that. Or a Bush. I want to be Bubba Bush. Bubba Bush. If I was marrying Jenna Bush, I'd be Bubba Bush.
You still change your name?
No, I wouldn't. You want to change your name? Bubba Bush Clem. I could make it my middle.
Now, when you get married again, Bubba,
That would never happen.
oh, they will.
That's my roommate, and I bet you tell you it would never happen. It will never happen.
How do you feel about the woman changing her name or not changing her name? Do you care either way?
No, I don't care. Like Janessa didn't change her name, but I don't.
Yeah, but you didn't marry her either.
That's true. But it's what I don't really care. Either.
Okay.
I mean, I don't.
W. Bush came to you and was like, you can marry my daughter.
Hey, Mama, she was like,
Papa loves Sponge Bush.
hey, my wife changed her name to Heather the Love Sponge Clem. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That might have been an indicator right there.
We missed Big Red. He gave $50 to
I missed you.
I don't know.
How do you miss
I'm
Justin?
so sorry.
Breaking news, let me go to the casino again.
Breaking news, Lummi's going to casino with Justin. Big Red. His wife's got knocks to die for, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Elton John's new book reveals 11 things that you may not have known about Elton John.
You might have heard about it.
Maybe. One, he likes dudes. Two, him and Rod Stewart were such good friends that when Ryan, that's Stone Joey Legato, our very own Stone Joey Legato. And I wonder if Rod Stewart and Elton do. I wonder if Elton is Rod. We're such good friends, and you know that I like these. Can you send me a couple of these? I mean, like, Janice, can I ask you a question? Like, if your friend Candace, or like one of your girlfriends, right? And, you know, she said, hey, Janice, me and my boy, can you send me a T-pic? You'd send her a T-pic, would you?
No, but she sends them to me all the time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not uncommon.
Yeah, she's always sending me
A
pictures
T-pic.
of herself.
No,
Like,
she's
selfies
sending,
in the mirror.
is she sending me or T's, or both?
Wow. Yeah.
Can you
I don't want to talk about
if Candace is listening right now, can she text you and say, yeah, you can show Mommy and Bubba my T's and P's?
She's probably not listening.
I'm Blitz. Sorry, Blitz. Blitz, I'm Blitz.
And we got some big numbers, too.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Blitz, hey, Blitz, I want you to know that if I'm ever cutting a shady deal, of course you're in on it. I forget the principle. Maybe I'm just trying not to make it look less so creepy. 3 dudes is creepier than 2.
Yeah, and don't worry, Blitz, I always get you in the back.
Yeah, Blitz, please. Plus, you got surveillance all over here. You'll superimpose it and get it anyway.
Yeah, I hacked into your iCloud.
You probably already have hacked into Janessa's cloud, and you probably were like, the reason why you did that is because, like, hey, I heard it got out.
Well, I was thinking, I'll just show it to you.
Come to the next break. You want to see Candy's T's and the P's? Hey, Stone Joey Legato, are you standing by?
Yes, sir.
Have you and your military guy friend been sending any D-pics lately?
He's actually, I haven't been able to get a hold of him for a while now. It's kind of,
Maybe you already gotta wash your hair.
Yeah, by the way, we're washing your hair today.
how did he know my hair is?
When's the last time you exchanged D-pics with, military Mike?
A long time ago. When he was,
Last Christmas?
When he was visiting, maybe like 2 months ago, over the summer.
2 months ago, and how did it happen? Hey, you want to see my D? I'll show you yours if you show me your D.
It was kind of like maybe we were both feeling a little insecure, and we were trying to hook up with a couple chicks, and he was all like, you think this is good enough?
Yeah, that's just an excuse.
Man, me and Larry Plummer have video conversations as to why we might be on a dry streak back in the day, but I never, ever really said, hey, Larry, you know what? Did you look at my D? buddy that you hooked up with last night, after you were driving home, he reiterated how good your D was?
Yeah, I can send you messages to text. So just to